Welcome back to America Talks Live, where you are the most important part of this program because we make you part of the conversation at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Yesterday at this time, we spent most of our time together watching Donald Trump on the stump at his rally in West Palm Beach, Florida, defending himself against all the allegations brought forth by the Democrats and their allies in the media. Here's the way he attacked them back, if you will.
We already have substantial evidence to dispute these lies, and it will be made public in an appropriate way. These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false. These lies come from outlets whose past stories and past claims have already been discredited. The media outlets did not even attempt to confirm the most basic facts.
And the fact is, we want to get a variety of opinions and analysis, and to do so, we welcome from Newsmax New York, political strategist and attorney Sam Nunberg, who once upon a time worked for Mr. Trump early in his campaign. And I tell you what, Sam, let's get straight to the calls, since the name of the program is America Talks Live. Let's go to Warwick, Rhode Island, where Jeff is on the phone. Jeff, you're live with JD and Sam. What's on your mind?
Just wanted to mention he has to stay focused for this next debate. Donald Trump has to stay focused. He should focus on the big issues that are facing our country, such as energy, employment, defense, security, education, and not take up the time of the debate trying to defend himself against these allegations that are out there right now.
Yeah, he spent his time doing that yesterday, Jeff, and you raised a topic where Sam might have some insights on this. Debate preparation. The second debate, so much better than the first one for Mr. Trump. Does he have it within him to sit down and study and practice what's at stake next Wednesday night, Sam?
Oh, I think he certainly does. Look, I mean, it matters the format, too, and I'm sure that when they're sitting on a round table like they'll be doing on Wednesday, that's a better format for Mr. Trump as opposed to the more formal format in the first debate with Lester Holt. Obviously, in that second debate, that's his wheelhouse there, when he's able to talk to people and just control the conversation. Now, onto your caller saying, being worried that Donald's going to be too defensive. JD, you and I know him. He's not going to be that defensive, trust me. He'll go on the offense here, and I think what he'll do is if they want to attack him, or if Hillary wants to bring up, or Chris Wallace wants to bring up these accusations that keep coming up from 20 years ago, he'll just immediately deflect and pivot to issues such as Hillary's treatment of Bill's victims, the Clinton Foundation, or her email controversy. And you know what he can also talk about, which he's laying this narrative now very smartly, is about how the media and the special interests are all, just coming down on him with ridiculous, accusations from 25 years ago, and about how this is a movement, and he can continue that populist movement.
And
to,
Sam, he's doing
voters.
Something more, and this is where your training as an attorney can help out. His lawyers have already sent a letter threatening to sue the New York Times, demanding a retraction. And the Times basically is saying, bring it on. In your opinion, is it conceivable that Trump could win a lawsuit like this, given the fact that he's a public figure?
I'm not so sure if he can win the lawsuit against the New York Times, but if he wants to sue these people, these women that spoke in that article, he certainly would have a case there if he would sue them, and then they'd have to go into whether the facts are true and whether Donald suffered damages. But more to the point is that when you looked at these actual articles, look, JD, I've spent a lot of time around Mr. Trump. They're making a big deal about how he says to younger girls, I'm going to date you 10 years from now. He means that as a compliment. Look, he means that as a compliment. The man's a celebrity, and what he says to he sees a nice girl, he wants to make her feel pretty, and he's just a very gregarious, nice, friendly guy. And then they have these other things where he kisses girls on the lips. Look, I've seen him. He's very respectful of women. I can tell you that conduct in his office was not allowed like that, and that's just a friendly manner there. And I'll tell you one thing he hasn't done is he hasn't done what Bill Clinton did in the White House. And they're really just trying to destroy a man here who really, has a legacy of creating millions of jobs in this country.
And if he's got to pivot and go back to that, he's going to. But it sounds to me like he's going to have to not so much take on Bill Clinton, but Hillary as trying to hurt the victims of Mr. Clinton, or those
right.
who
That's
say
exactly
he's
it. Yeah.
I tell you what, let's get another call in to Belcamp, Maryland for Mark. Mark, I understand you noticed something interesting while traveling with your wife recently, and you were down in North Carolina and some other states. What did you guys see?
Well, good afternoon, JD, and hello, everyone. On our ride through Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and North Carolina, we saw nothing but Trump pen signs. And we're not talking one or two, hundreds of them. I did not see one single Democratic sign up for Clinton at all. And my wife and I were kind of surprised about that. We were wondering, with all the money the Democratic Party's pumping in out there, not one single sign at all. And I just want your take on all that.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times, is it not, in terms of intensity, or just the notion that signs on the road or yard signs don't mean anything? What's your take on it, Sam?
Well, look, I think yard signs are actually a parameter. I mean, they're not going to give you a victory, but I also don't think they do not mean anything. They're a parameter, and if you have yard signs in certain areas where you need to get out the vote, areas that Donald Trump is targeting, and I'm sure his campaign in those specific areas that the caller was driving through, that's where they're targeting for extra turnout. Now, the Democrats, though, have an amazing turnout operation. Barack Obama has kept his campaign alive for 8 years. They use these other outside groups, and then, of course, as you well know, JD, they practically control the board of elections of every single state. So what Clinton has been doing with this money is, just killing Donald on the air. If you turn on TV, I hear in North Carolina, you just have one ad after the other, just destroying Trump on whether it's women issues or that he's a quote unquote racist, so to speak. And it's a very dirty campaign she's running. So what I do think at this debate too is that Donald really has to continue to take it to her, because if he can make this a base election and depress her turnout. Look, nobody wants to vote for her, frankly. This is she's not very likable. Her favorability is just as low as his is, even right now. And she doesn't win on leadership. She doesn't win on bringing change. She doesn't win on good governance. And she literally encompasses everything, JD,
so in other words,
the American people are sick of.
It's back to the old prescription: make your opponent the issue, your opponent's shortcoming, your opponent's ill feeling among the voters, and you win it. Cool, I got that. Now, before we let you go, there's another subject we need to bring up, and that is the so-called GOP Civil War. We saw that behavior from Paul Ryan and others earlier in the week. And at that same time, we talked with Newsmax TV political analyst Dick Morris, who actually said when Trump takes on the Republican establishment, well, it shows almost a Tony Blair-like effect. 20 years ago, Tony did that with his party in the UK. Listen, here's the way Dick put it.
If he starts articulating that on behalf of the American people, criticizing the Republican establishment as well as the Democratic establishment, he rejiggers the partisan configuration. And Hillary is the establishment with Ryan and with the Bushes and with the Romneys and with the Kasichs. And he is the anti-establishment with the people.
So he says, a pox on both your houses, regardless of party. I am a change agent. And in so doing, he not only fosters a realignment, but he reinforces the notion that you don't want the status quo. You want to change things. Do you agree with what Dick had to say there? We've got about a minute.
Yeah, sure, I do. I think, JD, the novelty of the Donald Trump candidacy is that he's essentially an independent candidate running under one of the major two-party nominations. And as long as he's able to continue to show that he's independent, that he's able to bring that change, that he is, and it actually helps him too, because he's going to be able to say that he's not going to be accountable to these people, and he's going to be able to work for the American people. So I think that he's using this very smartly. And I also think, look, Paul Ryan has a job to do himself, and they have to allocate, resources resources the way they see. But I think at the end of the day, when Donald said the shackles are off of him, I think he's right from the point of view of that he's able to run as that independent candidate who's not accountable to anyone except the American people.
You know, the bottom line on that Ryan thing is this, Sam. Under the guise of political pragmatism, Ryan was engaged in calculated self-promotion, trying to get ready for 2020. It backfired on him. It backfired on him, and he's since been chastened. Of course, Sam, you're never chastened. You're always candid, and we appreciate what it is you have to say. Look forward to having you back real soon. Sam Nunberg from Newsmax, New York. Now, when we come back, we'll take a look at this day in history and a preview of what's ahead. A prime preview. Miranda Kahn joins us, plus more of your phone calls. It's America Talks Live for this Friday. I want to talk to you, so stay with us.